The first is that this focus on exchange, the technological connectivity, has allowed activism to shift from the realm of formal large organizations to the polity at large. That is, to short-lived, small, informal, transient activist groups. Right? So that has been one major shift, and this has happened because of reduced transaction costs. Right? As in a previous generation of activism, you always needed a gigantic organization because raising awareness was so difficult. It was difficult to produce pamphlets. It's difficult to mobilize opinion. But those transaction costs are much reduced now, right? And so hence this shift. I'm not saying that I buy the shift, but I am saying that this is sort of in many ways sort of a consequence of this new dialogic. The second consequence is what one might call the development of thin ties. And again, over here I'm drawing from the work of Lance Bennett. A thin tie is the idea that technology enables loose and flexible connections between people and issues. So a thin tie between you and an issue is the fact that you might like something on Facebook. That requires very little ideological commitment on your part. It's a very thin, flimsy connection between you and a social issue. So this in turn allows flexibility. This in turn allows flexibility, decentralization, and a loose association with causes. And the ultimate consequence is what one might call connective action, or that which is organizationless action. Recall that collective action requires organizations, right? Collective action cannot occur without any kind of organizational infrastructure. But in an environment where the infrastructure is already provided, then the action becomes connective rather than collective. Okay. So a third consequence. So the first consequence is informal organizing. Second consequence is thin ties and connective action. The third consequence is the complexity of framing. So there are two really interesting things here. Okay, so maybe I should begin with the second one first. And some people, several scholars, and I kind of buy this argument, say that contemporary global social movements are successful because their global frames are so broad and ambiguous as to render them personalizable to diverse individuals.